Hello. I have no idea how long Facebook is going to be down, so I thought I'd go ahead and make a video and then I can upload it to you through an email. So that's the whole purpose of what's going on here, because I obviously can't get on there. Okay, so I have set up a new palette. I'm going to show it to you in a minute, but this is the palette paper that I use, because it's just gray, and I use the gray because it really tells you what color you actually really have. Okay, so here's my palette box. Take a really good look at it, because it won't look like this again for another couple of weeks. I use it, I put the lid on, I spray it. You can see the water droplets on there. Okay, so this is paper toweling underneath here, and this is the order that I always set my palette up in. And I spray the sponge underneath there has been watered down. The sponge has been wet. The paper here is wet. The paper toweling is wet. The paint goes on it. When I close that box up, I'll spray it, the whole thing again, put the lid on it, and it'll stay moist in there. Okay, so today we are going to paint some hydrangeas. We're going to do the hydrangea, the stem, the leaves. I'm not going to do a background. I'm just going to paint these flowers. And while we're painting that, I want you to remember that we need 3 values, a minimum of 3, and there will probably be 5 or 6 values in here. So here's my box. I've got a bristle brush. I just tapped it off in the water, tapped it off on the paper towel. I'm going to come over here and get my purple, work out here on this palette paper, add a little white to that, and a little of the ultramarine blue. Might go with, I might even put in a little bit of the turquoise deep. Okay, so I'm going to do 2. So I'm just going to push. So I have to decide what is my shape. Okay, so I want the bottom part to be a little flatter than the top part on this one in particular, because we're going to do 2 different kinds. Okay, so now I'm going to work on the next one. I'm going to add some more dark to that, and this one is going to be much rounder. Just adding a little more of the purple, a little more of the ultramarine blue in there. See how dark that got? So I'm looking at the shape here. Is that the shape I want? I think it looks pretty good. This is a little flat. I'm gonna bring a little more blue, purple in, and a little bit of white. There we go. That's not quite so flat, so I like that. That's a perfectly good shape for me. Okay, so now I am going to pick up some white. I'm down here in this part. I'm going to add a little bit of the turquoise to that, and I love lavender and turquoise together, and it just gives so much depth. So now I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to poke in a couple of petals. And again, there's not a lot of shaping, depth. I mean, there's depth going on, but I'm not really making petals. I'm really just creating some depth. Okay, so on this one over here, I'm going to come back up here in this darker area and work off there. You can see the difference between those 2. So I can come in here and put some together, like 2 or 3 together. I don't have to. It's totally what you're comfortable with doing. Because at this point, we're still really not actually creating, we're just putting the underpainting in there, okay? So I am going to clean that brush. I'm going to let all that dry. I'm going to start working on the stems and the leaves while this part dries. Okay, so I need a synthetic flat brush. I'm going to go with this one here. This is one of my rosemary brushes. Okay, so I have some green. I'm going to pull that over here. I'm going to take just a little bit of that purple and add it to the green. Now I'm going to add a little bit of the white. Okay, too much. Come back here with some more green. And even maybe warm it up a little bit with some yellow. Yep, there we go. Okay. All right. So I want a stem, and I don't want my stems to be straight stick soldiers, okay? So this one's going to come out here like this. And then this one's going to maybe meet it or cross it. There, okay? Now, hydrangeas are so heavy that there is some support. I don't want to call them stems, but okay, so there's just a little bit of support there. You could use a, let's pull that out and look at how it works on this one. There you are, my script liner. Okay, I tapped it in the water. I didn't tap it off. I'm working over here. I'm pulling that green down into this brush. I'm rolling it, and right here I'm going to roll it off and get a really sharp point. Okay, so I can come over here. I'm using my baby finger to steady my hand. They don't have to show up much. I like the way it looks better with the script liner. Just reloading that brush and dropping it. Yep, I had to drop it a couple of times, you know. If I don't drop it, I must not be working. There we go. Now I'm going to come over here. I like the way the script liner works better. And now I've got these little droplets of water. I can pick those up and put them over here rather than spray it down, because sometimes when you spray it, you get too much. So I've already got these little droplets of water. I should just use those. So this whole time, my petals are drying up here. Okay, so they're doing their thing. There we go. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to rinse that out. I'm going to pick up my soft grip brush. This is the 1-inch one, tapping it off in the water, tapping it off on my paper towel. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up some more of the green. And this might be too wet, but I used a lot of it, so for me it's not, but it could be for you if you picked up too much water. I'm going to add some yellow to that, and again I'm going to pick up just a touch of that purple in there. I like to have my main color kind of working its way into anywhere I can work it, and green and purple are one of my favorite combinations. So okay, so the leaves here on a hydrangea are much bigger than on most everything else. Okay, so that stem needed to be a little bigger. So I'm going to put a stem out here and something up this way. And now I'm going to have another one coming over here. And I can almost hear the question, well, where do I put them? You don't want them opposite each other. Okay, so other than that, just get them on there. You need 3 or 4. Okay, so I'm going to have 4, so that's going to be an even number, and I'm not good with even numbers, but we'll worry about that in a minute. I'm going to pick up some more of this green and a little more yellow. I'm adding a little yellow at a time. I'm going to add a little white in here. Okay, so now here comes this big leaf, and I'm on that edge. Okay, so I'm pushing, and I'm actually kind of turning, wiggling it really, if you will, because I want to get kind of a rough edge. A hydrangea leaf is rough on the edges. So now I'm going to come back in here, kind of make here's the angle, okay, and I can make that leaf bigger. So now I'm going to come back in here and make this bigger, and I'm going to, right here, I'm going to turn it. I already know where I'm going to turn it. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up some of this yellow. I'm out here on the edge because I'm going to show the underside of this leaf. I picked up some white, and the underside is going to be a different color. Otherwise, you wouldn't know it was there. Okay, so I'm going to start in here. I'm on that point edge. Okay, here I am, very light pressure. I'm coming up, and now I'm going to push down, and now I'm coming back up on that edge, okay? And it flips that edge up. So now I'm going to come back in here. Let me straighten that out a little bit. And there's its stem, okay? So now there's a number of ways that you can achieve what we just did. I'm going to show you another way here. I'm going to pick up some more green. I need a dark color. Okay, so here, let me think about this. I'm gonna lose most of this stem, but that's okay. Okay, I want to come out here with my points, okay, and I'm going to start this way. And I'm going to come all the way around. So it went right off the canvas. And again, this is watercolor paper. And it's taped down. It'll stay taped down until it completely dries. I'm trying to get all that paint in there like that. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to come back with my lighter color. I'm going to have to add more white and more yellow to that lighter mix. Okay, so now I'm going to come up here like this, and I'm going to come right up in there. Okay, so now this is the other side, like it's folded up on top of each. So this is the inside of the leaf, this is the outside of the leaf, and it's folded up on top of each other. Okay, so on this one here, I wanted to make 2 great big ones. This one here is just not gonna be so big. And this one here is gonna come up here even higher. Okay, and I can pull something off here. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 leaves. Now I'm going to come back with this lighter color, and this is just to show you again how you don't have to do them all like this. Okay, so here comes this. I'm on that point edge, and now I'm going to push down and pick it up. And you can't really tell that. Let's add some more white to the edge of it and some more yellow. So you see I got my dark, and there's all my values right there. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, do it again. I'm on this point edge, and I'm pulling it up, and as I pull up, I push the bristles down, and now I pull the bristles back up. And I just like pull away from the paper. Let's get some more white into this mix. Over here on this one, okay, I'm right there, and now I'm going to push down, and I'm coming right back on the edge of that brush. So here comes the stem, goes in there like that. This comes in here like this. Okay, so now I could use a smaller brush and put that on the outside edge over here and push down and bring it back up to where it looks like it's flipping in another direction. Okay, so we're good there. Our leaves are in. I may come back at another time when my paint is a little drier. I'm adding a little white and a little yellow to my lightest mix. I could come back in here and go that again. There we go. So, you know, you've got a number of opportunities and options there. Okay, rinsing my brush. We're going to come back and we're going to work those hydrangeas. Okay, so now I've got a long-handled, it's a rosemary, 1/2 inch synthetic flat. So I'm back over here in my purple. It's still got some water in there. I'm going to add some white to that, and I'm going to add some of the turquoise. I want that to start showing up now. Okay. Okay, so here on this one, I'm going to start in the very center, and I'm going to make my center flower. And it's and I want you to figure out your best way, because there's a lot of ways to move this brush. There's not one way. Okay, so I'm just going to come in here like this. Okay, so there's my center flower. Okay, so now I'm going to come out here and make another one. Okay, see how some of them are fat and some of them are skinny? It's fine. Some of them would be turned, some of them would be out. You can't allow yourself to stress over they don't all match, because when you look at a hydrangea, unless it's made in China, they will not all match. Okay, so out here we're just going to put 2 or 3 together in a grouping. We're going to make another single group here. Okay, so this time I started up here, I pushed and I lifted up, pushed, lifted up. I'm just trying to get them to come together in the center. Okay, so there's a number of different ways to put them on here. And now, and I'm trying not to think too much. Don't think too much, Sharon. Because these guys back in here are smaller. They're hiding underneath those other petals. Adding a little bit of white to my turquoise mix. I'm making them smaller on the outside. I want my center star flower right there. Now I could come back and put a little, oh, that's got too much purple in it. Give it a little, okay, here, I'm down here working in this, okay? So you can see where I've come. So I might want to give a little something there, a little something here. You know, it's just a little something extra. Okay, so now I'm going to go back up here in my lavender over here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm coming around the edge this time. As I said, there's not one perfect way. You can only do it this way. No, you find a way that your hand works. And this is just something that you can practice on your freezer paper. So here I am putting my star in there. And here's another sister star. There, okay? So now we have to get the real star of the show in here. And I just find this hilarious. I know when I have private students and I teach this, they're just amazed. Okay, I've got my script liner brush. I'm going to use the end of it. Okay, I'm just tapping it in the white paint over there on the end. So I'm going to come back in here with my stars and give them their centers. Okay, so these that only have 2 or 3 petals in them, okay, those are all the ones that were completely formed. So now I'm going to come back. I just put some more paint on there. But these ones out here that have 2, I'm just going to put a little dot there to show that there's centers. But they're not, you know, it's not completely formed. But they're there. There's another one right there. There's one there. So you don't get them off like everything in one side and nothing on the other. That's why I'm always harping on don't work from left to right or right to left. Let your brush hop around. I got the main ones in there. So now I'm just going to kind of hop around. Boom, boom, boom. And it's amazing that these silly dots sell it as a hydrangea. You could even put them back here in the dark part. Just a few of them, much lighter pressure, okay? So there you go. We have our hydrangeas, okay? So you can see all the values. You can, every lesson that we worked on in the boot camp is here. The color, the values, the brushwork, everything we learned we put into practice in this painting. And so I could come back, which I don't ever do it this way, but many people do. They'll come back in and put their background in now. I'm not very good at that and it's too tedious for me. But I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just wrong for me. So anyway, we've put into practice everything that we studied already. So this is how you use what we learned, the fundamentals that we learned. Now in the beginning painters club, it's the beginners painting club. There you go. That's how it is set up. It is set up so that you learn fundamentals and then you learn elements of art, which I will explain in a minute, and then you'll have individual paintings. So fundamentals of art are basically what we did the first several days, first 5 days of the boot camp was learning fundamentals. And there are many more things, ways to learn that. And so every month the Beginning Painter Club is a monthly membership, and so you can join. You can stay as long as you want. You can be there for a month, and you can then you can stop anytime you want. So I I want to help you understand how the club works. And so then in elements of art, let's say you want to paint a landscape. And so in a landscape, there would be rocks, trees, clouds, mountains, grasses, cabins, water, reflections, all sorts of things. And in elements of art, I would teach you how to do that particular thing. Clouds, rocks, mountains. And so then there's elements of art for landscape, floral, seascape, and still life. So if you wanted to learn to paint a sky, a sunset, you might go into seascape, or you might go into landscape and look up sky, and there'll be classes just on that. Okay, so then there is painting classes where I teach a full painting, at least one every month, and I take the painting classes and I break it up into the elements. So if we're going to do a seascape, there'll be 4 or 5 elements in that. They'll be in the elements, and then we'll take those all and put them into a painting. So it's sort of a tutorial, but deeper. Because I think that a lot of times when you look at a tutorial, there's not enough depth in there for you to recreate it. And so to me, that's why the Beginning Painters Club is so good, because it gets you the foundations, it teaches you the elements of a type of painting, and then it takes all that information and puts it into a single painting. And here's the one thing that to me is the biggest draw for it at all. It's all in one place. You don't have to go looking and hunting and pecking and I wish I could paint it. So you watch 5 videos on how to paint clouds, but you still don't have it. So if it's all in one place and you don't have to hunt and peck around and look up this tutorial and that, where did I see that? Okay, so now it's all in one place. It's easy for you to find, and it actually comes with a free Facebook group, a private Facebook group just for the members of the Beginning Painter Club. So that's it. To me, when I decided to build this thing, I was thinking about what it was I needed in the beginning. And so this is what it was. The Beginners Painting Club is what I needed. And so I created it. And now you get the benefit of it. So anyway, hop onto my website, www.paintingwithacrylics101.com. It's not open yet, but go on there and look at the Beginners Painting Club and read everything there is about it. I think you're going to fall in love with it when you read about it. And so hopefully, I want to see your hydrangeas on our Facebook group, if we can ever get back to a Facebook group. It's been a rough day for Facebook, I understand. So you guys have a great day. Let's paint together real soon.